Jay Rodgers, the point guard from Central Connecticut. It was announced by Penn State. He has committed to join from the Blue Devils, coming on down from Connecticut to Penn State.
I've seen him play.
6'3" point guard, averaged 11, 7-2 for the Blue Devils this past season, has 1 year of eligibility remaining. You saw him play. What do you think of him?
No, he is a good distributing guard. Is he a great shooter? No, but he's a good shooter. Good shooter. Can hit the three. I think he's like a 36%.
36% this past year. 82 from the foul line.
Late in the game, he's not going to hurt you at the line when you need him to. Handles the ball well. The key will be keeping turnovers down. So when I saw him play at Central, I was impressed by him. What always interests me about what always interests me about these things is that it will be the reaction of people. Oh, they got a guy from Central Connecticut. And yet, for example, when Elijah Hawkins transfers from Howard to Minnesota, oh man, I'll tell you, that's the kind of guy we should have. He transferred from Howard, but that was okay.
Or was it Janai Broom was at Kent State? Was that it? And then he went to Auburn, and everyone's like, "Oh, why didn't we get him?" Or Axel Lendenberg from UAB to Michigan.
What about him?
Oh, he's so great. He was at the same level.
It's like Elijah Hawkins goes, boy, a Hawkins guy can really play, man. He's really good. Oh, that's the kind of guy we should get. I'm sitting there like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, then Axel Lendenberg guy, we need him.
Then you got a guy that go from Central Connecticut and the NEC. He went from the MEAC to the Big Ten. So from the NEC over to, I mean, it's all that's available out there. It's like, I sit there like thinking to myself, okay, here's one. It would really help if you actually knew some of the guys. It would help. And this guy's a good player, and they needed to go out and get a point guard, right? To build around it. Okay, now you've got that. So now you move on to the other parts you need. You have the center. You've got, I mentioned the center of the point guard combination. Now you build around that. You need shooters. You need big wings. You're going to need somebody behind because he's going to need somebody behind him. It's just as simple as that. He's not going to go out and play 40 minutes a game.
As of this moment, you have at guard Reggie Grodin, and you've got
Reggie can shoot, by the way.
Yeah.
Reggie can shoot. I can tell you that right
Reggie and Jay Rodgers are your two guards at the moment. And in terms of forwards on this team, you have Juric at center. You've got Mirotic, Ciani, Chris Latito are the other players on the roster because everybody, Dom Stewart, Mele Tuncha, Eli Rice, Josh Reed, Caden Mingo, Freddie De Leon, Mason Blackwood are still in the portal. So that is the current construction of the roster.
If Ciani were to stay, you always have to say this with every roster now.
Yeah.
Right? Across the country. If he were to stay. Right? No, Ciani, he didn't do this. Look, you need somebody to fill the breach for 5 to 10 minutes in a game. I'd rather go with an experienced guy that's at least been around the block a little bit. Now, does Sasha need to improve his game? Of course he does. Right? Brent Scott, I think, will get the most out of him because he gets the most out of almost every big man he has.
I'm excited to see Juric next year because I really want to see what it looks like next year with him in year 2 with Brent Scott.
And the workouts have been really good so far. I think they scrimmaged,
It was sometime last week.
It was a 4-on-4 scrimmage they did last week on Thursday, as a matter of fact. But that's, okay, you still have to get another shooter. No question about that. And you got to get some bigger wings, right? That's where you are. Almost everybody is going through this. It's become the nature of the game. So I saw Nick Saban talking about this, and I completely agree with where he's coming from because college has gone from being college sports at the basketball and football level in particular, and not so much other sports, but basketball and football in particular have gone from being transformational to being transactional. And Saban was talking about back in the day, college was the bastion of stability, and the NFL was not. A lot of transactions in the NFL, cuts.
But in college, it was usually the players come and they're there and they build up and up and up, and you can kind of build the programs. Right. That's how Duke and Kentucky and North Carolina got the way they were, because they built themselves up. You
have to either have a major academic problem or a major incident off the court or field to no longer be on the roster. They also gave you time to develop.
Part of the reason that those Kentucky 2010s to 2020s teams were good was not just because they had a couple of one-and-dones, but because they also had players who were with the program year after year and got better and better. I saw Emil Jefferson talk about it when he was at Duke, that he came in, and I believe at guard for them at the time, I forgot who it was at Duke who was with him. They were there forever. And so they built the program up, and then they just stayed, and he was there for 4 years, and he was a captain for 3 of them. And Krzyzewski was like, I need you to help teach these guys what it's like to be here. And you need guys like that who are there, who can play and give you minutes, but also mentor.
Or John Calipari, for example, brought in Reed Travis from Stanford, older player. He brought in the kid from Bucknell who played very well for him, right? Older player, right? To go with the younger players that were in the system. But college basketball and college football, college basketball the last 10 years, college football the last 3 or 4 years have gone from being transformational to being transactional. As Saban said, it used to be that you had athletes that always wanted to play in the SEC. And in this case, athletes that always wanted to play in the Big Ten, and athletes that always wanted to play at Penn State, athletes that their entire lives wanted to play at Alabama, athletes their entire lives wanted to play Texas and Tennessee. He said you'll talk to the guy from the same hometown as somebody who always wanted to play at Alabama, let's just say Bessemer, all right, just outside of Birmingham. You're playing at Bessemer. Always wanted to play in Tuscaloosa, the whole thing. He said, they come in, and the first thing they want to know is, how much money am I going to get?
Yeah. Right. It went from kids watching Reggie Bush and saying, I want to go to USC and be the next Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Or watching what would happen with Joe Burrow for even a season where he was there, he transferred, and then was there for a year. They're like, I wanted to be Joe Burrow or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Now it's not that, where it is that 1 year almost rental. There, of course, are some players who are going to stay.
It doesn't mean that athlete out there doesn't exist that always wanted to go to Penn State. I grew up in New Jersey. I want to go to Penn State. I grew up in Pennsylvania. I want to go to Penn State.
And there are players who get there eventually who may not be able to get to Penn State in their first season. And then you, of course, see it all the time where they then transfer saying, I wanted to come here. This was my place. This is where I wanted to be. And they're here for 2 years. But as you're alluding to, there's less of them.
This is why when I've talked about the basketball part of it, it's not the budget. Right? I think this is what the element that people don't quite have a handle on, the budget. Well, they're going to $6 million, and you're just going to lose $6 million because Penn State's not going to win, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not where the money's coming from. Okay? Everybody is spending about the $3 million, $3.5 million on their basketball programs on the internal rev share. Right? I think Michigan State's doing $5 million. Right? On the internal rev share. That's the budget line. Okay? That's the budget line. So to take that line out of it, it's the external money that you are getting that becomes the difference maker between a $4 million roster and a $12 million roster.
The reports out there are Flora Badunga and Jackson Shellstead, who are going to Louisville, are getting about $9 million combined, which, of course, as you just said, is more than what a $4 million program can afford. So how do they get there? It's through the outside external money, the NIL, that you're able to get to players.
Now, can you get this money? For example, this is where like what can you get from Playfly, for example? Now we're seeing right now Nebraska's having a little trouble with 18 athletes with the Playfly proposals, but that's I think the wording of contracts. I don't think it's anything more serious than that, right? But this is why, like for example, Pat made his deal with Playfly. It more than doubled the money, but it also gives NIL opportunities, some of which I know are going to play out during the course of the year that we'll benefit from as a broadcast team. The next part is then, what's the wording on this Adidas deal that starts July 1, right? And what can that do, right? To go with your donors, your donor base is the difference between having the internal rev share of $3 million and having $9 million. That $6 million is not coming from the internal number. That $6 million is not. Right? Now, are there ways to get it out, through the internal contracts you've made? Yes, but you still need outside donor base in conjunction with what I just talked about, Playfly, Adidas, whatever, that can get you to the $9 million, which is the average in the Big Ten. The average of the Big Ten is about 8 to 9. We know after this year it's going to go up probably between 9 and...
It's going to sit around 8 figures.
It's going to sit around 9 to 10. Right, somewhere around there, because it's going to go up. The goal is to get to the average number. Right? Get into the neighborhood of the average number. And this is where to give yourself a chance, right? You'd love to have like one donor come and go, hey, I got the check right here. That's right. You'd love that, but that's not, that's not realistic. But can you get a group of them to convince them, hey, I know you're doing a lot for us here. I know you're doing a lot for us there. Is it possible to do something to help out here as well? Because if we can get a better product on the floor, which will then draw more fans in, and then, right, yeah, because look, going to the Big Ten tournament, you're going to get money. Going to the NCAA tournament, everybody gets money. It doesn't, like you want to get there because you want to win.
Yeah.
Right. The money part of it, you're just helping the conference on the money side of it. All right. You're just helping the conference on the money side. Everybody's going to get a distribution. All right. And now let's get to the next part. The next part is this. Don't be foolish in making a statement about Penn State getting less TV money under the new rev share program when it comes because of basketball. No, okay. This like at that point when I hear somebody say that, you flat out don't get it. Okay? There's not different levels that go to different sports. When they are talking about the new rev share model that could be in effect by the end of the decade, when they do the next TV contract, they are talking about the possibility of Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State getting 5.5%, the possibility of USC and Oregon getting 5%, and the possibility of everybody else getting 4.9%. It's not going to be, well, I mean, Michigan, they're the national champion. They're going to get 10% of the basketball rev share, and Penn State's going to get 1%. Okay? Excuse me. Okay? Okay? Not how it works.
No.
Not how it works.
Steve, that person I saw online who says they're an expert said this, and their expertise is that they play a lot of Madden.
Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.